Well, we do read the news and listen to what is being covered on a daily basis quite regularly. And there is a build-up, of course, as you have reported. But the discussions that we had yesterday, we were looking at the case for neutrality and the opposite position to that. The retired General Jerry Singrock and myself took the view that island states should be neutral to what is happening. And we believe that is the right way to approach these things. And we argued that island states have no direct interest in the global and geopolitics that drive these strategic contests. What we ought to be doing is really to be looking at ourselves, strengthening our position as a regional entity, and to make ourselves strong so that we would be able to promote our interests. Our interest is not in geopolitics. Our interests lie in a strong Pacific regionalism, for instance, in the climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation, and green growth. Those are our interests, and keeping the ocean a peaceful ocean. And that was the argument that we took, and we need to promote this instead of being embroiled in the geopolitics of the contesting states.
Would there be any benefits for Pacific Island states as this power play is taking part, particularly in the North Pacific? Do you see both the two major powers, China and the United States, attempting to get Pacific nations on side by being very generous with aid projects here and there?
Well, the generosity of the aid is something that can be addressed by the various Pacific governments. We heard recently from the Prime Minister of Samoa that he was not happy with the ODA from the USA, for instance. So that is a matter for the individual Pacific Island governments to determine. But I mean, you can see it in general aspects that there can be employments that would be created and provided that there would be freer movement of laborers across the Pacific. There can be some benefits in terms of the employment that will be created.
Part of this superpower rivalry is going to see many US troops stationed on the island of Guam. Are you cool with a troop build-up in the area? Do you think there is any danger from that? Do you think there is a danger to the region from misunderstandings between Beijing and Washington?
Well, there is obviously a concern with the build-up of the military and the Navy in the Pacific because we believe that this is an ocean of peace, and we have said that, and we want that to be. And by having the build-up here in the Pacific, it will attract attentions from other hostile governments, for instance, and that is the risk we take. That especially if we align ourselves to either U.S. or China, then we are escalating the hostilities, and then we attract more attention to the Pacific, and we risk the Pacific escalating into hostilities, and we don't want that.
Do you think there is a danger with Fiji at the moment? It seems to be moving much closer to China with its look north policy. And I think at the moment the military leader, Commodore Frank Bainimarama, is actually in Beijing. Do you see that close relationship a concern during this power struggle between the US and China?
Well, at the moment, from what we see, the relations are mainly directed at economic development. commercial ties, investment, and areas in business. As long as it stays in that area, we would not be so concerned. I don't think there is any thought of having any relations in the military area. And if that happens, then obviously it is a concern not only for Fiji but for the region as a whole.
How much are Pacific economies benefiting from trade, aid and tourism from China?
Well, the Chinese assistance is obviously growing, and you can see the Chinese engagement in a number of Pacific Island countries. But whether it can be sustained is another matter, and whether the assistance is being directed into developmental areas in the Pacific Island economies is another consideration that has to be determined. And whether it is a multi-annual kind of engagement that China is prepared to enter into, those are some of the questions that are to be asked. But obviously, China is increasingly engaging